This is a Makasi rifle made by Brigade Manufacturing. The most eye-catching thing for me about it is that it is ostensibly described as an FAL/AR hybrid, but I want to take a second to actually tell you what this rifle actually is, because it's not really as much FAL as you might think. I would say it's probably better described as a short-stroke piston rifle with some FAL-inspired design cues. It uses a multi-piece gas piston that's really more immediately familiar of an AR-180. The recoil system, though, is a nested recoil spring, which is actually pretty similar, or at least not entirely dissimilar to an FAL para, as opposed to the AR-180's dual recoil springs and guide rods. The bolt itself is very AR style, and the bolt carrier is very similar to an AR, but just looks like it's been shortened or cut down effectively. And of course, there's no internal gas system on the bolt itself. Now, the lower takes AR trigger groups and pistol grips, but the selector is this short throw quarter turn selector, and then the stock is a folding FAL para style stock. But one thing to note with that is that it's attached with a 1913 rail. Personally, I like the FAL style stock. It does look like a modernized FAL, which is what attracted me to the gun to begin with. But it is pretty heavy, so it's nice to be able to swap it out. The lockup generally is pretty tight when it's open and closed. There's just a little bit of play. So the rifle also has these unique T-shaped M-LOK handguards, and it is pretty slim and lightweight. This one came with a rubberized Strike Industries grip, that I also really like. I'd like to actually pick up a couple more for other AR builds. And I would say that the biggest FAL similarity is the disassembly lever, which makes disassembly really quick and really fast. I really like it. I wish more guns would use that style of takedown. And of course, the side charging mechanism that is non-reciprocating. I mentioned the lightweight handguards, and really the rifle is pretty lightweight. It feels pretty lightweight to me, especially compared to some of the other external piston rifles that I've picked up over the last few years, like the PSA Jackal, which is just a pig in terms of weight, and even the SIG MCX Spear LT. Weight has always been an issue with the MCX series. The LTs even carry some of that weight over. This feels handy compared to those guns. I would say that the recoil is a fair bit more abrupt when running it unsuppressed than my IWI Carmel, but it's also significantly less than my BRN 180, which is probably the closest comparison I could make to it on the weight side. So I would say it's right in line from a recoil standpoint, a felt recoil standpoint, with the SIG Spear LT. One thing that I will note too is that changing the gas setting requires a long flathead screwdriver. You can't really get to the gas system from the sides like you can on a lot of external piston rifles. Now, from an accuracy standpoint, this rifle came in kind of in the middle of the gas piston guns that I've been testing over the last few years, and it wasn't quite as accurate as the Carmel rifle that I have or the Jackal rifle that I had, but it is considerably more accurate than the Spear LT that I had. I did swap out the mil-spec trigger for a budget Timney competition, just single stage trigger, and for accuracy testing, basically right out of the box it was doing what I need it to do, and that's roughly hit a clay target at 100 yards consistently with the cheapest ammo that I have with me. In this case, the cheapest ammo that I had with me was some AAC 55 grain, and I was getting around 2¼ inch groups with that. Notably, I did get one 3-inch group with Wolf steel-cased ammo that was 3/4 of an inch, which is insane. Of course, most of my other groups with Wolf open up to about 3.5 inches. So I need to address the elephant in the room, and that is that this gun actually did not function for me out of the box. So right out of the box, I tried about 6 different brands of ammo. I tried different magazines. I tried adjusting the gas system. I simply could not get the gun to cycle. In addition to that, retracting the bolt was so difficult that I actually had to mortar it on the ground to get it back most of the time. And if I could manage to push my right hand forward while pulling back on with the charging handle with my left hand, it was really painful to do. I have some old shoulder injuries from adolescence that kind of crop up occasionally, and that really caused that to flare up. So I'll tell you what my experience was with Brigade customer service, and then you can make a judgment from there. So I emailed Brigade Manufacturing the same day that I bought and tested the gun. Within 20 minutes, I had an email back, and it was in the evening, saying, send the gun back, apologies, we want you to like the gun, here's a return label. From the time that I sent it back to them to the time I got it back was about 30 days. Over the course of that 30-day period, they called me multiple times, they emailed me multiple times, just to let me know how the testing on their end was progressing and what they were planning to do with the gun, and then asking, if I wanted them to test further and so on. They said they could not get the error to repeat, the issue to repeat, and they said that they ended up changing the barrel out with one with a smaller gas port so they could put lighter recoil springs to make it easier for me to charge the gun. The net result is, whenever I got that gun back, it worked. It works great. I don't know if changing the parts out fixed it. I don't know if truly I had just shot it right up into the point that the break-in period was done on it. I just know that the gun works now. I would actually call that customer service interaction stellar. It didn't cost me a penny to send it back and have it sent back to me. Unlike some other companies where I've had issues with guns on much more expensive guns, that I ended up getting charged and the gun still didn't work correctly. They wanted to make sure that I was happy with it whenever I got it back. So your experience may vary, but that interaction made me feel a lot more confident in the rifle itself. If it's something that interests you, might be something to look into, because I think that they're a pretty neat gun. I'm pretty thrilled with the customer service experience, even if the right of the box reliability was not good. But I still have a lot to do with it. I haven't put very high round count on it. I don't think that there's a lot to fail on the gun. Like, when you look at the parts individually, it's a pretty simple design. So it'll be interesting to see over time, as I get thousands of rounds on it, how it actually holds up. At the very least, it's a unique gun. It seems like a solid company, US made company down in Florida, that might be worth supporting.